Hi. So, your dog's been diagnosed with diabetes. What do you do? You're probably panicking, you're probably freaking out. This is where I was several months ago. I didn't even realize dogs got diabetes, or it just wasn't even something that I thought about, considered anything. And then my dog got a diagnosis, and he's 14 years old. His name is Harry. He is the love of my life, the longest relationship I've ever had, and we're really working on squeezing out a little bit more time together. So first of all, it's probably been a big shock to you. It was a huge shock to me. I was ugly crying in the vet. Not just crying, ugly crying. I thought death was imminent. Our lives were over. Everything was over. I had plane tickets to fly somewhere. Those went in the trash. Harry initially took very well to the insulin injections for the first day or two, and then he started really fighting them big time. It was incredibly traumatic. I was alone. I had to give the injections alone. I am not a doctor. I'm not a veterinarian. I'm not a nurse. So I will preface this whole thing by saying that I'm just a regular person. This is definitely not something I ever pictured myself doing. So please always heed your veterinarian's advice on the dosage, on any testing, on anything that you do. Please talk to your veterinarian first. But this is what we have been doing and what has been working for us. And I found a huge lack of videos out there, so I wanted to give back to anyone who might be going through what I went through several months ago. So first of all, there are many different kinds of insulin that could be used on your dog. Some veterinarians will recommend a human insulin. We use Insulin, which is made for dogs and cats. It is called Vetsulin in the United States. We're not in the United States right now. And it comes in two different sizes. This is the, I believe it's 40 ml. I like to call this the small bottle. And there is a bigger, sorry, not 40 ml. That's crazy. All right, I don't know what it is. It's the small bottle. And there is a large bottle, but I purchased the large bottle one time because it was a little bit cheaper, but I found out that it wasn't effective towards the end of the bottle. So consider your dosage when you're buying that size, and also consider that the bottles are made out of glass. If you're particularly clumsy or have some kind of problem where the power goes out often in your house, or something happens that you forget it a lot, then maybe the smaller bottles are better for you. I was very unhappy with the large bottle. I felt like it didn't work the last few days towards the end. And they do say that once you've punctured the bottle, there's a limited amount of time that it's still good. So look at the manufacturer's directions for your insulin on their website, or if it comes in the box or something. We get them like these, and there is no box, so I had to look it up online. And when you first get this, store them upright in your fridge so that the crystals don't form in the top and block the top. Make sure that you always put them back in the fridge when you're done. As soon as you finish drawing up your dose, the bottle gets wiped off and goes back in the fridge. Should you forget and leave it out, please see the manufacturer's directions regarding your type of insulin. You can buy protectors for the glass bottles. You can buy those online if you're really clumsy. I've so far been lucky. I hope I haven't cursed myself. And for Insulin, it used to be that you would roll the bottle like this, back and forth 10 times. But the directions have changed now, and you shake it. Other types of insulin, maybe you need to roll it. Just check and see first. So that's the insulin that we use. And the next thing is, originally my vet gave needles that they were really long and really a bit thick. And it was the best that they had. It was what they use. And they have someone who holds the dog for them. It's sort of a different situation. They're much more skilled. And I had to do a bit of searching to actually find something smaller. And I was really wish that I had known this from the start. These are really fine needles. They're 31 gauge. It's a fine needle, and 8 millimeters is short. With the longer needle, the 1/2 inch needle, I actually had a day that he fought me and it went through his skin into my finger, and I injected myself with the insulin. So if you can find a shorter needle and you have a smaller size dog, you're going to be a lot happier. And if a finer needle for a smaller dog as well, and depending on your dose. So have a look around for these. They're sold in many countries. There are different brands. Just look up what sizes there are. And you also need to have a look at this. They are different needles for U100 and U40. Caninsulin and Vetsulin are U40 insulins. However, they don't sell U40 needles where I live. So the vet has given me a dose that works with these needles. But if you are living in another country where those needles are available, then you'll be using U40 needles. So be aware of that as well. Discuss it with your vet. So I'm going to show you the needle. It comes like this. And it comes with a tiny bit of air in the top. I don't know why. So what I usually do is I take this protector off here and I just squeeze that bit of air out. And then I shake the insulin. So I'm going to shake the bottle. Not too long, just a little bit. And then I like to give it a little roll. And then just set it down while I do this. Okay, this is rubbing alcohol. And I'm going to put that on the cotton swab. And initially, I was told to swab the area on the dog with alcohol before doing the injection, and I find that stings. It hurts. It's very hard to get it in that spot, and you're doing this twice a day, and it just is not necessary. So I do not swab the dog. I swab the bottle, the top of the bottle, and then just dry it off with the other part. Okay, now take the top off the needle. And I don't know if you can see, it's a very, very fine needle. And turn the bottle upside down and insert the needle in the very center and keep the bottle upright while you draw your dose. Make sure that you are actually drawing up insulin and you're not filling the needle with air. Believe it or not, some people do this. By accident, I'm sure it's a clear solution. So what I like to do is look at it against a light, so like against a lamp or something, so that I can see very clearly, but I just can't do that here. In a second. So you don't want to get air bubbles in, but it's a subcutaneous injection. It is not intravenous. So you don't need to freak out and be absolutely crazy over it. Just do your best not to get any air in there. And I see a bubble. If you get a little bubble, just push it back up. And just be slow and gentle, drawing the insulin. I'm sorry, this isn't focusing. So you're going to go with whatever dose your veterinarian has told you is suitable for your dog. So I've got Harry's dose, and then sometimes it sticks a bit, and just have to do it again. And a lot of people would like to tap the air out. I find that with this ultra-fine needle, tapping it just bends the needle, so I don't do it. It's working for me this way. You might give it a try however you want to do it your way. So when done, take the needle out and then cap it. Make sure that you don't stab yourself. This is when the needle's straight and perfect. You can cap it like that. Be mindful of what you're doing. Besides that, after you've done the injection, it's best to slide the needle into the cap and then press it down against the table so you don't stab yourself. It's hard to believe, but the needle is so sharp, it just cuts through the lid like butter. And I stabbed myself a few times before I really realized this. And you don't want to keep doing that, obviously. So yes, try to be mindful of that and make sure that you dispose of the needle in a sharps container after you're done with it, according to the regulations of where you live. I fill up a plastic container, take it to my vet every time we go for a curve, and they dispose of it for me. So hopefully your vet will do that for you. Now I like to take the cotton swab and just swab off the top of the bottle and put it back in the fridge again. Now with this needle, stick it under your armpit and hold it there. Careful not to accidentally plunge it or anything. And warm up the insulin till it's room temperature in your armpit, actually till it's body temperature in your armpit, because cold insulin will hurt the dog. And after a while, the dog isn't going to be happy to have an injection when it hurts. So make sure you warm it up in your armpit for maybe 5 minutes to your own body temperature before you do the injection. And injections by hand just did not work for us. They were very traumatic. They were horrible for both of us. A lot of crying, a lot of screaming, a lot of moving. I was covered in bruises. It was very, very awful. So I'm going to recommend the Autoject 2. I wish I had had that from the beginning. Really, it's been a lifesaver. And I'm going to do another video in great detail about how we use the Autoject and show you on Harry as well. But I cannot recommend that product enough. It is worth every cent. So if you're having any trouble with the injections, don't give up. Buy the Autoject. If you have trouble with the Autoject, there are other things you can do. You can make a harness and suspend the dog from the ceiling or from the doorway, and that'll keep them from moving. So please just try the Autoject. It's amazing. He doesn't feel it, and life is nearly normal for us. And in subsequent videos, I'm going to also discuss home testing. We just had a bout of a bit of a problem, so I was testing him every 2 hours last night and sending the results to the vet, and now he's perfectly fine. So I do not test every day. I probably won't even test in weeks. So there are some people who are incredibly fanatical about it, and that's their choice. I think that you should work with your vet, speak to your vet, see what works for you. It's very, very handy to have the test kit and to know how to use it. Incredibly handy. And you will use it when there's a problem. And it's also not painful. So I will show you how to use that and how to do that. But it's not something that you need to fret and worry about right now. Don't freak out. Just, take it day by day and step by step, because I found everything to be incredibly overwhelming, and I'm here to tell you that you can get past it and everything's going to be okay. There are ways to make it easier. You're not alone. You might feel like you're alone, but you're definitely not alone. Join a chat room, join a group. Find other people who have diabetic dogs that you can talk to. And you're going to need that emotional support, along with just some of the funny stuff and maybe some of those nights where you're freaking out a little bit, that someone can calm you down and help you look up a logical solution if your vet can't be contacted at the moment. So I'm going to leave it at that for now, and then I'll do another video about the AutoJect.